Yo, what's up, y'all? This is Ace. This is Fantasize Football. And we're here today to do a little rapid reaction to all these moves in free agency. We're going to break this joint up into a couple parts. I haven't really thought much about this. I'm kind of just going to wing it, you know what I mean? Go with the flow. But before we get to that, I did want to mention the 5 things that I was excited about for fantasy football in 2021. We've created a playlist for it, so if you got a long drive, you know what I mean, you're going to work, you want to just hear me progress from stumbling on my words to being a little more coherent like I did just there, go ahead, check that out. I appreciate all the love and support. It's been awesome. You guys are the best. And if you're loving the content, man, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good shit. But without further ado, let's get right into this. And I'm gonna just kind of spitball this and go through. So we're gonna start off with the Cardinals, and the Cardinals signed AJ Green. What do I think for fantasy? I don't think much, to be honest with you. I don't think this is going to be super impactful. What I do like about this is going to move Christian Kirk back into the slot probably. So I actually do like this for Christian Kirk, although that might seem a little counterintuitive, seeing that, you know, he's probably going to get less targets and whatever. But I don't think this really impacts Hopkins much. Probably helps out Kyler Murray a bit. But good overall move. I like it. Next, we got the Falcons. Mike Davis. Y'all remember? You remember? Back in the Arthur Smith video, I said this was a possibility, that Mike Davis could end up being there. He could be the at least a complimentary piece. I still think they're going to draft a running back. But, hell, if they wait and go with a 4th round, 5th round running back or something like that, or sign someone else in free agency, Mike Davis is the lead back, I'm in. I like it. I'm cool with that. That's cool with me. I like that. All right, so the Ravens... the Ravens took shots on everyone, man. They went out, they tried to get Juju, they tried to get Golly. Nobody wanted to go to the Ravens, though, and I kind of get it to a certain degree because, you know, a lot of the contract talks with in the future are going to have to do with the previous stats over the last few seasons or whatever. You go to the Ravens, you go with Lamar Jackson. They're not going to throw the ball that much. You know, you're probably not going to get as much targets, whatever. So I do get it. But they went out, they grabbed Sammy Watkins. I don't think this is super impactful. I think Watkins will have some value in deeper leagues, more like a wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5, maybe. Definitely. Don't exactly help Marquise Brown, but I don't think it hurts him either. And same with Mark Andrews. I'm not too concerned about that. I do think the Ravens are going to throw the ball a little more. I'll get to that when we talk more about projections and stuff later on in the offseason. But let's move on to the Bills. And so let me say this before I talk about the Bills. I'm not just going to talk all about fantasy relevant stuff. Some things that struck me as interesting I will touch on too. And the reason why I say that is because Mitch Trubisky to the Bears. Mitch Trubisky from the Bears to the Bills. This is odd to me, man. I felt like Trubisky could have at least got a deal somewhere, but apparently not. I mean, that's what the market was kind of looking like. But it's just weird to me, you know what I mean? I guess it makes sense to a certain degree because Josh Allen and Mitch Trubisky do have a relatively similar play style where they're both kind of mobile guys. I would say that Mitch Trubisky's like a dollar store version of Josh Allen, but they drafted Fromm last year too, so it's just kind of weird, but whatever. And then they also signed Emmanuel Sanders, and John Brown left, so I'm assuming Emmanuel Sanders is supposed to be like the John Brown replacement. I don't think this changes too. Actually, it does kind of. I think this is gonna kind of hurt Gabriel Davis. I know a lot of people really like Gabriel Davis. I was pretty big on him too before this happened, but this kind of screws it up a little bit. Nothing crazy outside of that, though. This isn't going to affect Diggs. This isn't going to affect Cole Beasley, I don't think. You know, maybe we see Gabriel Davis playing the slot a little bit, and maybe Cole Beasley's volume turns down a little bit, and they kind of split that role, or maybe Gabriel Davis outperforms Emmanuel Sanders and takes over that job. But as of right now, this is kind of just like the only person I really see this affecting is Gabriel Davis, and I don't love it. I don't hate it. You know, I don't think Emmanuel Sanders is going to be really fantasy relevant. But with that out of the way, let's move on to the Panthers. They signed David Moore. So now we got DJ and David Moore. So I hope they don't have similar numbers or whatever, because that's going to get me all screwed up because I'm all over DJ Moore. But yeah, I mean, this is like, David Moore is actually pretty good. I mean, he's never really got much of an opportunity. So it's him. It's DJ Moore, it's Robbie Anderson, it's David Moore is probably going to be the number 3, so he's not going to be super fantasy relevant. It might It might affect the volume a little bit. I don't really think so, though. I don't think he's the type of cat that's really going to take away targets from them. He wasn't a super impactful guy in Seattle either. So, I mean, this is whatever. This is pretty cool. If you're in a deeper league, if you're in a dynasty league, you want to take a shot on David Moore, knock yourself out. They also signed Dan Arnold from the Cardinals, tight end. Last year, Ian Thomas. I liked Ian Thomas, and he did absolutely nothing. But Dan Arnold showed some promise with the Cardinals last year. He had a couple big games, a few games where he was scoring whatever. So I don't think this is going to be like another situation where he's going to come in and be a world beater. But again, if you're in a deep league, take a shot, whatever. It's pretty cool. That's fine. Let's move on to the Bears. All right, let's do it. All right, here we go. My boy, Allen Robinson, dude, he's back. He got franchise tagged. What are you going to do, man? I really wanted to see him go to a better situation with a better quarterback. But quick segue there, Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton's there. I think it's 1 year, $10 million or something like that. Actually, today, just about 10 minutes ago, I was outside hanging out, checked my phone real quick, and seen that Ryan Pace, I believe that's his name, the GM for the Bears, did declare that Andy Dalton will be the starter to start the 2021 season. And keep in mind, y'all, too, I'm gonna have to adjust this when I'm doing videos in the future. It doesn't really affect this, but we are going to have a 17-game season. That's another thing that was just a process that's done this year. It's going to be 17 regular season games. I'm assuming they're just going to cut one preseason game and add it to the regular season, but whatever. That's kind of beside the point. But Andy Dalton to Allen Robinson. I mean, in Superflex leagues, in Dynasty, if you want to take a shot on Andy Dalton, I got Andy Dalton on my Dynasty team. So whatever, you know what I mean? It's a guy. You could probably go out in a Superflex draft and grab, late to be your third quarterback. That's fine. But yeah, I mean, I think this is a slight upgrade, to be honest with you, over Trubisky and Foles, because Dalton's at least got an arm. I mean, he did support A.J. Green as a wide receiver one for years and years and years. So I think A-Rob's still going to be a wide receiver one. I don't think this is the best move in the world, but I don't think it's the worst thing that could have happened either. And then the other move they made was Damian Williams. And this one's just like kind of weird to me, man. Like, I don't really know how to feel about this just yet. I want to hear what they have to say, the front office, the coaching staff about this one. Damian Williams, obviously, when he was with the Chiefs, he was really good in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. He was relatively productive 2 years ago as well. Obviously, he opted out last season. The Chiefs elected to release him. Now he's over with the Bears, with Montgomery, and with Tariq Cohen. I still see David Montgomery being the lead back, but Damian Williams is a good enough back that he could really actually cut into that workload. I think this might actually affect both Montgomery and Cohen, because Damian Williams isn't a bad pass catcher either, pretty good in pass blocking as well. So I could see this just kind of like muddying up this backfield. I don't know. I'm going to have to see where it comes out when I do all my projections and stuff, but I'm really not too hot on this move for fantasy. It kind of just screws up Montgomery, who is a guy that I really liked. But next we have the Bengals. The Bengals haven't really done anything, so we'll move on to the Browns. Only big move the Browns made, and I wouldn't even necessarily consider it a huge move. It's they re-signed Rashad Higgins, and another guy that's had showed some flashes last year. He was good at times. So this is a good move for the Browns. Not really relevant for fantasy, really, unless you're in like a deeper league. I would say Higgins is a guy that's like in a deeper league. He's like a wide receiver 5, you know what I mean? Whatever. He's a filler piece. Good for, if you want to grab him up in Dynasty, if he happens to be on the waivers, I doubt he would be. But you could do that. But that's kind of it for the Browns. Now let's move on from the Browns up to the Cowboys. And we got Dak Prescott coming back, baby. Big deal. Big deal. Big money contract. Good for him. He deserves it. And he set it up where he should get paid again, which is cool. Good for him. But obviously this is great for Dak. You know what I mean? He's got a lot of weapons there. I think Dak's going to be, I think I have him as a top 5 quarterback for 2021, at least at 6-point passing touchdown leagues, probably in 4-point as well. But this is great for Amari Cooper. This is great for CeeDee Lamb. And this is so good for Ezekiel Elliott. I think Zeke's going to have a relative bounce back year. I don't see him as a top 3 running back as we saw in the past, but I do think he's firmly a running back 1. Like, no doubt about it. I'm not falling off that much on Zeke. And for Cooper and Lamb, this is awesome too. Amari Cooper was actually very consistent last year, which is not like Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper's always been, at least in my eyes, maybe I'm wrong, and I'm actually going to be talking about this in a video probably in a month or two. Amari Cooper's I've always looked at him as a boom or bust guy, but last year he was really consistent, and especially with Dak. And CeeDee Lamb, this is great for him. I'm really excited for both of these guys. I think I got Amari Cooper as a high-end wide receiver 2, and I got CeeDee Lamb as like a lower, middling wide receiver 2 as well. So I love this for them. Gallup, this is good for him in a deeper league as well if you need to take a shot on him, whatever. So moving on from the Cowboys, we got the Broncos. The Broncos haven't really done anything. And now we got the Lions, and there's a decent amount of stuff to talk about here because we had the trade, the Stafford for Goff trade, and obviously Jared Goff's there. This is definitely not very good for Jared Goff fantasy-wise. If you got shares of Jared Goff in Dynasty, you're probably not very happy about this move because they're in a complete overhaul. Marvin Jones is gone, Kenny Galladay's gone, and let's segue over into Tyrell Williams and Bashad Perryman, the 2 wide receivers that they signed in free agency. Tyrell Williams, man, I don't know how much faith I have in him, to be honest with you. I think Hawkinson's going to be the clear number 1 option in the passing game on this team. But Bashad Perryman is sneaky, man. I like Bashad Perryman. I've been doing a few mocks here and there. I know I'm a psycho. It's way too early. I shouldn't be doing mock drafts yet, but I just can't stop. I love this shit. I can't help myself. But Bashad Perryman's been a guy that in the last round, the second to last round, I've been taking shots on just because, like, the upside's there, man. I mean, they're going to have to throw the ball a lot. You know, it's not like they're going to be in positive game scripts very much. So they're going to have to throw the ball. Somebody's going to have to catch the ball, and it can't be Hawkinson 600 times, you know, getting 600 targets. So I think Bashad Perryman has sneaky upside to be like a 120, 130 target guy. And if that's the case, man, and he can catch 70 balls, he's a beast. You know, if you guys remember 2 years ago, I think it was with the Bucs, with Jameis Winston, when he just came on, he was crazy at the end of the year. Last year, he was with the Jets, obviously not a great situation, but I think this is a lot better situation for him. And again, with Tyrell Williams, not very high on him at all. More like another deep league type of guy if you want to take a shot. There is some upside there. And then Jared Goff, you know, I'm not looking at him in any redraft formats. Obviously in Superflex, I would be. And in Dynasty, he still does have value because he's young. But hey, man, if you can go out and with Jared Goff and get a nice rookie pick or a nice young prospect, wide receiver, running back, whatever for him, and maybe like a later pick, go ahead and I would just ship him now while he still has some value. You never know, though. He could pop off. He could be good, you know, or at least decent. So if you want to hold him, I understand too. But the other big move for the Lions was Jamal Williams. And obviously, I talked a lot about this in the DeAndre Swift video and the 5 things I'm excited about for fantasy football in 2021. I think it was part 5, actually. It was the most recent one, which got a lot of great feedback and stuff. I really appreciate that, y'all. And I talked a lot about that there. So if you want to hear my overall idea of how this affects DeAndre Swift, whatever, go check out that video. But I don't think this is like the end of the world. I think Jamal Williams is going to be involved in the offense. He's a really good player, man. He's a hard runner. He's a good receiver. He's good in pass blocking. He will have a role on the team. I don't think he's just going to be a backup. I think he'll be more of a change of pace guy. But I'm not too worried about it. But if you want to hear more about that, check out that other video on DeAndre Swift. Let's move on to the Packers. Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is back with the pack. I like this. I like it. I like it for fantasy, man. I wanted Aaron Jones to go to the Dolphins. It's because I'm a Dolphins fan, but this is probably the best situation for him fantasy-wise because we just know what we're going to get. He's got Aaron Rodgers playing quarterback. He's going to get his share of targets, and I think he's actually that's going to be the biggest benefit of no Jamal Williams. And again, this is another thing. Keep your eyes out probably about next month. I'm going to be talking about Aaron Jones a little bit in another video I already got planned out. But I think that, you know, it's him and A.J. Dillon now, and I think A.J. Dillon will take away a little work on the ground, but I think Aaron Jones could be in for a little bump in the targets, in the target department, whatever, in the receiving game. So I like this for Aaron Jones. It's probably the best case scenario staying with the Packers. And then the Texans, oh, man, bro. What are the Texans up to, man? These dudes are crazy, bro. So first, they go out and they sign Mark Ingram. And I'm like, oh, that's weird, dude. I don't like that. Because, like, I kind of like David Johnson as like a later, like middling later round running back flyer. You know, you take him as your running back 4, whatever. And last year he was good. You know what I mean? If you take him as your running back 3 or running back 4, whatever. If you're looking at it in a draft where you take a tight end early and you kind of loaded up on the middle rounds of receiver, started off with 2 running backs, and you got yourself like a good quarterback, good tight end, and David Johnson ends up as your running back 3. It's not sexy, but he'll get the job done. You know what I mean? He'll get you 10, 12 points. But this kind of weirded me out. I don't know. And actually, it just came out today. Mark Ingram, my man says, yeah, I don't know what my role is going to be with the Texans. And hell if I do too, bro. I have no idea. I don't know what their plans are here. But then they went out and they grabbed Tyrod Taylor, which to me said that they're expecting to move on from Deshaun Watson. And I don't want to touch on that right now, but obviously Deshaun's got his stuff going on, so we don't know what's going to happen. If this isn't cleared up before the season, nobody's going to trade for him right now, so we don't know what's going to happen about that. But hell, I'll tell you this much. If Deshaun Watson's gone and Tyrod Taylor's the starting quarterback, sheesh, you know what I mean? I don't know, man. I don't think I'm Brandon Cook's going to fall down a little bit for me and everyone else in this offense because Tyrod is definitely no Deshaun Watson. But then I don't even know why I wrote this down. I think I just thought this was funny. Dante Moncrief. Yeah, Dante Moncrief, man. You know, Will Fuller replacement. We love to see it, man. Dante Moncrief. Good for him. But oh, yeah. All right. Now this is where it gets good. And then, so they go out. They grab Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram. What is Mark Ingram doing here, man? I don't get it. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I see the Texans sign Phillip Lindsay. And I'm like, come on, dude. So now we got probably the most disgusting, like, treat. And I don't mean this because they're bad players, but, like, for fantasy, like, what do you expect from David Johnson, Mark Ingram, and Phillip Lindsay? Like, listen, I wasn't expecting anything from Mark Ingram anyways. But it already muddied the waters for David Johnson. And then you bring up Phillip Lindsay, who's a guy that I was hoping would end up somewhere where he could be at least in, like, a 60-40 in his favor. Because Phillip Lindsay's good, man. But he just doesn't get the opportunity because he's a little dude, man, you know, to really be like a lead back like he was a couple years ago. But this is just ugly, man. This kind of got me off of David Johnson completely, unless he falls to like really late round territory. Because I don't think Mark Ingram will have much of a role. I don't think they brought him in to do nothing, but I don't see him getting more than like four to six carries a game or whatever. But I do see Phillip Lindsay having a role, and obviously David Johnson's going to have a role, seeing how they traded DeAndre Hopkins for him. Still probably the craziest trade I've ever seen in any sport. That was unreal, honestly, when you think about it. But anyways, yeah, so Phillip Lindsay, it's David Johnson, Mark Ingram, Phillip Lindsay. It's pretty terrible for fantasy. We're not really feeling that. The Colts, obviously the Colts traded for Carson Wentz. I actually really like this. This is the number one place I wanted to see Carson Wentz end up. I mentioned this in the first part of 5 things I was excited about for fantasy in 2021. Allen Robinson. I liked the idea of Allen Robinson going and playing with Carson Wentz in Frank Reich in Indianapolis. Obviously, that didn't happen. But if you want to hear more of my ideas of that and why I like this for Carson Wentz, go check out that video. But this is a good landing spot for him. The last time Carson Wentz was really good, which was 2 years ago, you know what I mean? Not last year, the year before. He was at least pretty good. But his MVPS seasons were with Frank Reich. Or MVPS season was with Frank Reich. So I like this for him. That's awesome. Marlon Mack resigns. I don't like this. I don't like this, man. I don't like this. Even last year with Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines, and Jordan Wilkins, it was a little weird. I didn't understand why they were using Jordan Wilkins so much. But now with Marlon Mack back, I mean, he's coming off an Achilles injury, which isn't the easiest thing to come back from. So maybe they're just giving him a test run. Maybe he won't be productive at all, and he'll be completely out of the rotation, and it'll just be Nyheim Hines and Jonathan Taylor. Because I was expecting, you know, Jonathan Taylor to really kind of move into that like workhorse role, not like a bell cow, but I expected Nyheim Hines to play on some of the passing downs and whatever, but Jonathan Taylor handled most of the early down work, goal line work, some receiving work. But now I'm thinking that Marlon Mack's going to probably take up that Jordan Wilkins role and probably even a little more if he's even 85, 90% of what he was before the injury, because they like Marlon Mack. Clearly they do if they re-sign him. So I hate this for Jonathan Taylor. I had to move him down my rankings a bit. I did like him a lot coming into this, but now with Marlon Mack back, I didn't see this coming at all. I just don't really like this. And then they re-signed the Colts, that is. They re-signed T.Y. Hilton. And this is like kind of like whatever. I mean, I'm not like... After last year, I'm not really in on T.Y. Hilton. You know what I mean? He's another guy that I don't hate taking a flyer on late. But this more affects Michael Pittman and Paris Campbell for me. Two guys that I liked coming into, before this move. I like Pittman as like the number one. And then Paris Campbell, he only played one game last year, but he's a good slot guy. But this does mean he's going to stay in the slot now that he's back. So maybe this is good for Paris Campbell. He doesn't have to move outside or whatever. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Colts went out and drafted another receiver too. But anyways, let's move on from the Colts. Next, we got the Jaguars, who signed Marvin Jones, which I thought was a really good move for them. I like this for Marvin Jones, too. Obviously, they're going to draft Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence to Marvin Jones. Hey, there's a chance Marvin Jones is the wide receiver one here. I mean, I like Chark, but I see this as Marvin Jones and Chark on the outside, Laviska Shenault in the shot, and Laviska Shenault in the slot. That's really hard to say. Try to say that 5 times fast. But yeah, I like this for Laviska. I like this for Marvin Jones. I mean, I don't really know how this is going to end up. Like, who's going to be the number one in this offense? I would really like for it to be Chark. I like Chark, but I feel like he's better suited as a 2. But so is Marvin Jones. So I think it'll be like a 1A, 1B situation with Shenault in the slot. Shenault could end up being the most productive out of the 3, honestly. But yeah, I mean, I like this move for Marvin Jones. I think he's another guy that I look at as like a mid to low end wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 area, somewhere around there. I'm not exactly sure where I have him. But hey, man, if the guy can be, 900 yards, 9 touchdowns like he has been, and like he was last year, he's going to have some relevance. It's just with Marvin Jones, he's just kind of inconsistent. So, and then we had Carlos Hyde. Now, here we are, the main event. Spoiler alert. The last team we were going to be talking about before, and then part 1 of this rapid reactions for free agency or whatever, was the Chiefs. Chiefs haven't really done anything other than get rid of Damian Williams, so we're not even going to be talking much about the Chiefs. So I'm going to finish this off with talking about Carlos Hyde and what I think this means for James Robinson. I'm not going to go into too much detail about this because I probably will talk about this a little closer to the season after the draft. I don't think they're going to draft another one because they still got Devine Azigbo and Raquel Armstead there. But I think this is like the best case scenario for James Robinson. We knew they were going to bring in somebody, a running back. They've been saying that. They wanted to strengthen up the running back room because you need a capable backup for the guy. And Carlos Hyde is just that right middle ground where I don't think he's going to be like really cutting into James Robinson's workload too much, but he's good enough where they're not like, oh, we got to go add someone else. We got to go draft somebody else. Like, Carlos Hyde isn't bad. He's just a really good backup, you know what I mean? And I don't think he's just going to be like a backup. I do think he's going to have like a small role in the offense. But it's like that perfect balance where I'm just happy they didn't bring in like a Mike Davis, you know what I mean? Or something like that. Like, Carlos Hyde is good enough that they don't have to do much, but he's not so good that he's going to cut into what James Robinson brings to the table. So I actually love this move. I know some people were kind of like, oh, no, sell James Robinson. Don't do that, man. Don't do that. James Robinson should be the clear-cut number 1 in this offense. He should be at least a high-end RB2 this year. I have him as an RB1 right now. And I love this move for him, and I love this move for the Jaguars too. I think James Robinson's going to be a stud. I'm not concerned about Carlos Hyde at all. But with that all out of the way, I'm done. That's all I got for y'all today. I'm going to, probably next week, give y'all the second part of this where we'll cover the other 16 teams in the league and go over anything else that happens with any of these teams that I've talked about today. And I had a lot of fun doing this. I hope y'all liked the video. If you do, like, share, comment, subscribe. Tell me if I missed anything. Tell me if you enjoyed the video, whatever. I really appreciate that, and I really appreciate all the love and support I've already gotten from y'all. It means a lot to me. Thank you for coming. This is Fantasized Football. I am Ace, your captain of the ship. I love y'all. Thank you. Peace.